Hello all you gorgeous young things watching. Most of you will be under 80, so we're still classified as middle-aged. Welcome to Over 50, So What? I'm Carol O'Halloran, and we're going to look at more interesting things for 50 plus. Unfortunately, as we age, it's not uncommon for us to develop type 2 diabetes. In Australia, one person every 5 minutes develops diabetes. Today we investigate what we can do to prevent this with Credentialled diabetes educator Camilla Barr. Keeping active is a great way to help prevent diabetes, so please join us in the 5-minute fitness after the break. And lastly, we have best-selling author Barbara Pease, who has co-authored several books on relationships. We're going to discuss some of her tips for good, long-lasting relationships. Welcome to Energy for Life. Did you know that 280 Australians every single day are diagnosed with diabetes? That's one every 5 minutes. Today we're going to be speaking with Credentialled diabetes educator Camilla Barr. Hi Camilla, and welcome to Over 50 So What? Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Carol. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now the viewers don't know, but you have been on the show as one of these fantastic love stories where people can meet later in life.
Oh, I know. Fantastic story.
Now you only became qualified as a diabetes educator later in life. Would you like to tell people a bit of your journey, your background through nursing and paediatric, and then how you got into diabetes?
Sure. Well, I started nursing back in 1975, so that just tells you a little bit of straight away. And I went into paediatrics because I loved working with children, and that took me a long way through my career. And with that, I learnt to work with children that had diabetes. When I moved to this area, we didn't have a paediatric healthcare system that was large enough to move into it, so I actually had to retrain. So at the age of 62, I retrained as a diabetes educator through the university. So I went back, did a postgrad in that, and then went on to do my Credentialled diabetes accreditation, which is another thing again and takes a lot of time. Yeah.
So there you go, viewers. It's never too late to start studying a new career, changing and getting an even more specialised focus in something else, or just taking up a new area of study. To kick off with, can you sort of tell people what diabetes is?
Yes, well, there are different types of diabetes, but if we look at type 2 diabetes, which is the most common, it's around about 90% of the population of those that have diabetes is type 2. It's where the blood glucose levels increase to above normal, and to the point where they either need to have lifestyle changes, medication, or some other sort of intervention.
What's the situation in Australia? Can you give us an overview of what's happening in Australia with diabetes?
Yes, there's it's a tsunami. That's what's happening. We've got a huge number of people diagnosed yearly with diabetes. When I first started nursing, it was always, type 2 diabetes is for the over 60s or 65 age population. Now we're seeing it in younger people as well. So that is now affecting whole families, not just the grandparents. It's affecting whole families. In fact, they're now looking at over 45. If you're obese, overweight, or you have high blood pressure, and over 55, just because you've hit that age mark. Yes.
Now, there is an assessment too you can do on yourself, just to give you a little overview of how much at risk you might be for developing diabetes. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, Diabetes Australia has a wonderful website, and on there they have the Oz Risk tool, and that Oz Risk tool allows you to answer questions about yourself, your age, your lifestyle, and it gives you a score, and at the end of that score you have your risk factor of developing type 2 diabetes.
So what can we do to prevent or to help prevent diabetes as we get older?
Have a look at that risk tool and just see where you're sitting for a start. There's a lot of risk factors that you can change, and there's some that you can't. You can't change your age, for instance. You can't change your DNA and your heritage. You can't change those things. But you can change your lifestyle factors that include physical activity on a daily basis. You can change your diet when we look at things like your carbohydrates, which is a whole new subject, your stress levels, which is another thing that actually can increase your risk factors for diabetes. And we saw that in 2020 when the fires swept through the South Coast.
Can you just explain what we should be doing ourselves as a preventative measure, or,
Yeah, absolutely. So at least a yearly checkup with your GP to have a blood test done, and that blood test will either check your fasting glucose, so before you've eaten anything, and it'll give the doctor a range then of what that should be, or you may have a test called an HbA1c, which is done then every 3 months or every 6 months or annually, depending on what your level is when it comes back.
What are some of the symptoms that occur that may be indicative that you are developing type 2 diabetes?
There are some distinct ones. So if you're suddenly becoming quite thirsty and you're drinking more than you normally would, you're really thirsty, can't seem to get enough in, that you're voiding more, so you're going to the toilet more to urinate, perhaps you're feeling tired and lethargic, perhaps you're feeling tingling in your feet or your legs that you didn't have before, and this can be often noticed at night time after a meal when you're sedentary and you've just had a nice high calorie dinner. Also things like putting on weight or taking off weight. There are other signs and symptoms, but the most common are the running to the toilet and drinking lots of water and the lethargy. So we then find out where we are. Are we at a pre-diabetes stage or a diabetes diagnosis? And your GP will guide you into that. You then will be probably directed to a diabetes educator, such as myself, who will explain what diabetes is and how you can manage it. We'll be looking at your physical activity, we'll be looking at your diet, and you may be sent to a dietitian as well. So between those people, some people actually sent to a physical exercise physiologist as well to get an exercise program. But it will depend on, hello, this is Duchess, it will depend on where you are on the diabetes scheme of things. So whether you've got a very high blood glucose level that needs to be treated straight away, then your GP might put you straight onto medication. Yes.
We've just been joined by Duchess, so you can tell I'm not at home with my ginger pussycat Gizmo. And she's not normally this friendly, so...
Her name suits her. Her name suits her.
Do you want to say anything? So as you can probably tell, we're up in regional New South Wales currently. Well, you wouldn't know it was New South Wales, but we're in a regional area. Now, well, thank you so much for sort of giving us that overview about diabetes, and we'll let the viewers know the link and the information so they can do their little self-assessment. So we look forward to getting some more information on diabetes, because there's so much more.
Diabetes, as I said, it's a tsunami. There's a plethora of information on the Diabetes Australia website. But yes, there is so much more to learn. And I have found that when people come to me, and even if they've had diabetes for about 10 or 20 years, they still have a new thing to learn.
So it's a bit about knowledge is power, isn't it?
Absolutely. Knowledge is power. Absolutely.
Well, we're going to be getting some more knowledge from you very shortly. Thanks, Camilla.
My pleasure.
Just get on your feet. Get moving, get grooving. Here we go. Now, take a walk. So, what we're going to do is 4 walks, 2 punches. 1, 2, 3, 4, punch, punch. 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 Keep going. Have you got it yet? Okay, stop the arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, step, side. 1, 2, 3, 4, side, side. 1, 2, 3, 4, side, side. 1, 2, 3, 4, side, side. Punch, punch. Punch, punch. Punch, punch. Keep it going. Great for your brain. Few more. Last one. On the spot. Up. That's it. Up, down, up, down, up. Now we're going to go forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back, forward, forward, back, back. We've done this step in a few routines. You can do it slower if you wish. Forward, forward, back, back. So if you haven't done it before, just make it slow. Otherwise, speed it up. And we're going to put those arms in. Are you ready? Let's do it. Down, up, down, up, down. Woo! That's it. Now we take the legs apart. That's it. Down and up, down and up, down. Yes! Are you ready to walk? One more. One more. And walk. Punch, punch. Punch, punch. Walk, 2, 3, 4. Punch, punch. Walk, 2, 3, 4. Punch. Now with a step. Side step. Side, side. Side, side. With a punch. Yes! Woohoo! Okay, walking down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down.
Ryan with the legendary Barbara Pease, co-author of 11 best-selling books, including The Definitive Book of Body Language, Why Men Don't Listen and Women Can't Read Maps, and Why Men Don't Have a Clue and Women Need More Shoes. Barbara has 6 children and 9 grandchildren. Welcome back to Over 50 So What. Great to see you again, Barbara.
Great to be with you again, Carol.
On the show, we have done some segments on people being single after 50 because it's quite common for, couples to split up after 50. So what would you say, or what would you suggest as top tips for developing a strong relationship over time?
Well, the first thing if you're looking for another partner is I want you to make a list. I want a list of the top 10 things that you want in a person. And it's down to the color of their eyes and their hair, whatever is a deal breaker for you. You need to write that on your list, because once you write that down, you're programming your brain to look for that person. So if, say, for example, you like redheads, you will see so many people with red hair and you eliminate this sea of faces. So on the fridge, I want you to put your top 10, and I want values, whether it's, you want them to have a value about their religion, kindness to people, whatever it is that you can't live with, that's what you need on the fridge. Alan always wanted a blonde. So he got a blonde because he had a list. He showed me the list on who he wanted in his life. And I think I was about an 8 out of 10 for him. So, they're the sorts of things that people should be doing. And if you think when you meet someone, they've got 3 of the 10, I'll change them, forget it. They're not going to change. So if they've got 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 and you can live with the other 3 that they don't have, well, then you've got a really good start to a relationship. You've got to know that they will negotiate. That's a really important thing. If you can negotiate when you first start dating, that's a good sign that your relationship is going to just keep maturing. If they're non-negotiable, then I wouldn't be looking in that direction.
So a lot of people would say, how on earth can you work with your husband for all these years and years and years and you've still got a really strong relationship? What's the secret to working with your husband and staying together and having such a vibrant ongoing relationship?
Right from the onset, we had really very defined boundaries of what we did in the business. So from Alan's point of view, he's the funny man and he does the funny stuff, so the media, and he does the seminars. And so that was his job. And I never stepped into that role. Okay, I do now. We do conferences together and I do media with him, but it's always been his area. And my area has been doing everything else, which I love. I'm a paperwork queen. I love creating. I love doing deals. So he's never stepped into my area unless I say to him, I'd like to talk to you about this situation. So we'll sit down and we'll talk and we'll nut it out and we come up with the best solution. But other than that, we don't cross over into each other's paths. And I think because we love each other and have such huge respect for each other that we've never had an argument in business, ever. We've never, ever fought. In the beginning with our relationship, we had arguments because we were still trying to work out why I was crazy and, he did things that made me crazy. Negotiation is the biggest part of our friendship, our love, our everything. And if we get stuck, we'll agree to disagree and say, let's meet tomorrow and discuss it when we've both had time to digest it. There's no winners in our relationship. It's whatever feels good for both, because I don't want to win all the time. And I don't want to be married to someone like me. I would find that boring. And so I challenge him every day. He challenges me every day. And we love what each of us bring to the table.
So tell us about this photo you take every 10 years in Italy.
It's something very personal to us. We loved Portofino when we first went there and we took a photo. And then every 10 years, we would always go back to celebrate either a birthday or something special. And so we took our second photo. And then when I turned 60, Alan said, what do you want to do? And I said, I just want to go to Portofino again. And so we went there. And so that's our third photo. And I said, right, for your 80th birthday, we're going to go back and take the same photograph. So it's just something that reminds us of where we started and how we keep traveling, and we're still doing the same thing. And our love is still amazing. Yeah, it's just kind of cute.
So getting back to the physical side and health side, we do a lot on the show about health, physical and mental health. How do you keep yourself physically fit?
We do exercise every day. I've got an Apple Watch. I need to get to my 10,000 steps. I have to do 30 minutes every day. And I like to get to about 3,000 kilojoules. So I set myself targets every day. I discovered that walking in a swimming pool is far better for me physically and mentally than walking outside in the sun and the pounding on my joints. Anyone looking at me would go, oh my God, she's a nut job, because I'm using my arms, I'm using my legs, I'm using weights, I'm doing everything. Everyone knows that when I'm in my pool, that's my time. That's my time to just relax and look around, look at the trees, do my exercise. And if we don't do it every day, that's when we actually, I don't feel really well today. Just a little tip. Exercise, good for the brain, good for the body.
Now, you do some personal coaching to help people achieve their life goals. So what are your top tips, say your top 3 or 4 tips to how people can make the most of life after 50?
50, 60, 70, 80 is just a number. So my top tip is pick your number. I've picked mine. I'm 28. I mightn't look 28 in the mirror, but I don't care. That's my number. And I don't listen to anyone who says, oh, like my mum too, she says to me, you're 60 now, Barb, you should cut your hair. Mum, you've been saying that to me since I was 30. Cut your hair, do this. Now that you're 60, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't listen to anyone that says when you're a certain age, you cannot or should not do these things. So pick an age that you want to be. I'm 28 and I love it. Secondly, if you are going to retire to something that you love. Don't retire from life. Retire from your work if you want, but your life you can never retire for. Just go for it. Do the things that make you happy. Like 30 minutes a day, I'm in my swimming pool. That makes me happy. You always have to have something, and you must do something every day. This is what I say to my mum, is if you do something really special every day, whether it's going to a shopping centre, because, she's older, but she's still, at her age, she still walks. She still goes to the pool for an hour a day. She walks. There's a group where she lives and they just walk the pool for a whole hour. And I said to Mum, do you realise that's keeping you young and fit? She goes, yes, and social, because after they get out of the pool, then they have tea and coffee and they talk and they chat. So that's fantastic. Those 2 things are the most powerful things that I can give as a gift to people, is just don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on life. Exercise. It's so important mentally and physically. Stimulate yourself. If you don't want to work, then go get involved in a charity and give back to people who are less fortunate, because that always makes you feel great. And with your husbands, this is for the women only. It's very hard for men to retire. So before your husband wants to retire, you've got to plan with him. What are you going to retire to?
Thanks again, Barbara, for joining us today.
And have fun. Enjoy life.
If you'd like more information on the Diabetes Self-Assessment Tool, please visit Diabetes Australia. And if you'd like to know more about Barbara Pease and those fabulous books on improving relationships, please visit our website, carolo'halloran.com. Preventing diabetes is just one of the many, 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 many reasons to keep active. Please visit YouTube Over 50 So What for more 5-minute fitness videos. Say hi to our Facebook community Over 50 So What. We also post all the replays there. One of Barbara's top tips was to pick a number. No matter how old you look in the mirror, don't listen to anyone who says when you're a certain age you cannot or should not do certain things. How old do you feel? Pick a number. 28, 40, 50. I'm Carol, over 50, so what? Thanks for watching our TV show. Be sure to hit subscribe and then you'll never miss an episode. Jump on Facebook, join our group, get in on the fun, fitness, wellness and inspiration. I'm Carol, over 50. So what?